Good morning, London. What a beautiful day to be alive, and we have a very exciting person in our midst today. A very brilliant man indeed. You're going to be hearing from him very soon. He's a life coach, and I'll tell you the truth. As we come to the end of the year 2024, it is time to evaluate our activities as individuals, corporations, organizations to see how we can better perform in the year 2025. And we have someone in the studio today that will help us make sense to all our activities as individuals and organizations. I want you to get ready, get your cup of tea, get your coffee if you're okay with coffee, because today will be a lovely ride. I want to say thank you for tuning in. It is time to invite our special guest in the studio, someone that I've had a bit of discussion with, and I'll tell you, I am loving what I'm hearing from him. But before we go further, it will be interesting to invite Dr. Rakish to introduce himself to the house. Dr. Rakish, please, can you introduce yourself?
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. And first of all, thank you for inviting me onto the show too. Yes, I'm Dr. Rakish Rana, the Clear Coach. That's what most people know me as in terms of my brand as a life coach. And like you said, it's coming up to the end of the year, 2024. People have got plans for the new year, possibly reflecting on what they've achieved throughout 2024. And what I always say to people is they may be thinking about new plans for 2025, but don't leave it till the 1st of January. Start now.
Yeah.
It's never too late. Don't leave things too late. Start now so that you're ready to hit the road when that new year turns around. I think that's really key.
That's lovely, sir. Rakesh, I believe that is okay with you.
Yeah, Rakesh is fine.
Yeah, you said something so profound, and that is love. That I believe our listeners will have a lot to learn from you today. Oftentimes people wait for the end of the year to start making plans for a whole new year, not knowing the fact that every decision matters. The choices we make all matters. Every daily decision determines our decision today determines what takes place tomorrow. Exactly. So I want to thank you for that. So I want to ask you, from your journey as the Clear Coach, can you talk to us? I know from your profile you're an IT person.
Correct, yeah.
So it's interesting, the transition, and can you talk to us about the journey?
Of course.
From IT to what you do at the moment?
To be honest, I didn't even think I was ever going to be in IT. I'm actually a scientist at heart. Look at my academic career. I did a bachelor's, master's in chemistry, then a PhD in toxicology, anti-cancer research. I thought I'd be working in laboratories, creating medicines, etc., research. But after finishing my PhD, I wanted to do something different. I think I'd spent too much time doing science, too much time in a lab, and I was fortunate to come along an advert in the New Scientist magazine. They were looking for non-PhD IT graduates. Non-IT PhD graduates. And I applied for it. It was a long process, but I got a role. And this was for a German investment bank back in late 1998, so nearly 26 years ago, pretty much. And that's when my IT career started. So very quickly I ascended that corporate ladder. However, I did realise as soon as I started working that something wasn't right. I thought that there needed to be more to life. I think up until I got that first job, I just did what came easy. That academic life, the academic career, opportunities presented themselves, I took them, I was successful. But then when I started working, it really got me thinking, evaluating my life. And there was that sense of lacking fulfillment. But you know what? Career took over, life took over, got married, bought a house, got kids.
They used to be.
Yeah, and the usual thing, you got onto that hamster wheel that is life.
Yeah.
But about 10, 12 years into that career, I not even longer, maybe 14 years, about nearly 10 years ago, I got my own life coach. Somebody said, I kept on questioning what I wanted to do, and I met this individual and asked him if he'd become my life coach. And through coaching, I realised that everything I'd been doing had been about helping people. So I'm the oldest sibling of, a brother, two sisters and cousins. So growing up, people, I would think, would always come to me for advice or questions. And then during my PhD, I was looking after the pastoral care of undergraduate students. And then during my IT career, I was a manager, so I was always developing and looking after staff.
Wow.
And it was just that light bulb moment during one of the coaching sessions. I realised I want to become a life coach.
Lovely, lovely, lovely.
That's where it came from.
Lovely, lovely. Yeah, this is similar experience with me. I remember, I'm a physicist by training. My first degree is in physics.
Yeah.
And so you just speak. I remember, and while in the university, I put a lot of programs together, invited spouse to come and talk to students. I was part of the student union. I remember the dean of student affairs called me then and said, "You're a physicist in the making. Why are you doing all this?" And I remember I launched my first book as an undergraduate, then something happened. I was interviewed then, that was the year 2000. I was asked by the interviewer and said, "Why are you more of a social engineer than a physicist?" I said, "Because I discovered I wanted to be Isaac Newton, but I later discovered that it is better to change the man that changed the world through science. That a bad man with a lot of knowledge would be more dangerous to the world. And so we need to have people with the right mindset, developing the equipment and the weapon. And so I believe in social engineering, getting the scientists think right and think for the common good. And that is what you're doing. And I want to say thank you. I call it the Nobel phenomenon, where you get to a point you just felt, why did I do what I did? and what is more important to you in life? And that is really, and I want to say thank you for doing what you do.
No, thank you. I do say, people ask me, why do you coach? There's various reasons. Look, it makes me happy. I love to see people be successful. But I always say that, my hope and intention is to change the world for the better. And if I can do that one coaching session at a time, I've accomplished what I wanted to go out to do.
And it's fulfilling. I can see the smile all over you. It's priceless. It's priceless. And so, as a result, I'm sure looking at your profile, you have trained high achievers in different field of endeavors, and I'm sure they all have unique kind of struggles. And can you speak to the listener, just visualize, and can you share with us some of the struggles faced by these high achievers out there, and how you were able to help them navigate some of these things?
I think, to be honest, I've targeted high achievers, people that have actually had success in their lives.
Yeah.
But actually, the challenges they face aren't any different from challenges that other people face also.
Okay.
And a lot of it comes down to lack of confidence, imposter syndrome. And, a question may come about, well, if they're high achievers and they're motivated and they're successful, how can they have imposter syndrome or lack of confidence? Well, actually, I think they struggle with it the most, because when you're starting out and you don't have anything to lose, you're quite fearless, you're carefree, and you will try different things.
Okay.
However, when you've achieved things in life, you become fearful of losing what you've achieved. And therefore, what I find is that they become less able to take risk. They don't want to lose what they've got, so they hit that plateau. And that's when they then start feeling unfulfilled, thinking insidely that they can actually achieve more, but they're scared. So what I like to be able to do is rebuild their confidence, let's say, reframe their thinking to get even more successful.
That's interesting. Are you saying that is what leads to decline in growth in most people? You rise to the top and you begin to decline because of the fear factor.
Yeah, you get it. Obviously, look, I am generalising, because there are people that will just continue.
Okay.
But the people I've targeted or I've worked with, they've achieved success in life.
Okay.
And again, what success, we could define that. I'm not always talking monetary value, but I'm talking health, relationships, etc.
Okay.
It's the person's own definition of success. They want more, but they're scared, or they feel this imposter syndrome, and they've lost confidence. So that's where I come in, to help support them, challenge them to grow.
Okay, so how do you have someone that is not yet a high achiever out there, but with great dreams, and the person comes to you and say, please doc, can you help me? I'm afraid of stepping out, but I have this big dream. So how do you help such a person?
I love that, to be honest, because sometimes if somebody's already got a dream, that's great, because it normally comes about just finding that next little step.
Okay.
And that's what the biggest challenge is for a lot of people with their dreams, or wanting to get their dreams. They haven't broken it down enough to figure out what the next step should be. And that's such a big challenge for everybody. And when they identify that next step, they're scared to take it.
Okay.
So it's giving them the support and having them find the support themselves to be able to take that step, or even create the environment to take that step. Because I'll give you my example. I remember when I wanted to get into running, I'd signed up for a half marathon.
Oh, that's interesting.
And I was like, the thought of it, great, I would love to do it, scared to do it, but procrastinating, what do I do? Well, actually, I just had to break it down to the smallest step. I just need to go out, not even run, not even jog, but maybe just go out and walk long distances and start jogging. So it was just about figuring out the next actionable step. And I say that for anybody. If you want to achieve any kind of success, just identify the first thing you need to do.
Okay, and I think that takes me to something I really want to know from you.
Yeah.
Your CLARE framework.
Okay.
And I think that would be of help to our listeners out there. And to me, listening to you, I want to know more about that. Can you throw more light on, because it's your signature in this business.
Yeah.
The CLARE framework is a signature of yours. And so, can you talk to us about the CLARE framework
Sure.
and what it implies?
I mean, the CLARE framework, a lot of people, I guess, can mistake it for clarity, that I coach and it brings back clarity. It's not what it is, even though through coaching people do get clarity, but CLEAR is actually an acronym. It was developed during my coaching training with the Academy of Executive Coaching, and we had to write an essay of who am I, after our coaching training, and how, who am I and how do I coach? And through reflection, I figured out, well, what is it that I actually do, and it was about, I love connecting with people. So when I coach my clients, I have to establish that quick connection. But anywhere in life, to be able to succeed in life, we need to be able to connect with people.
Yeah.
So connection's important. And then to be able to speak clearly, having that language, that similar language, understanding language, and I'm not talking just verbal language, body language as well, auditory. What are we hearing? How are people responding? That was key. And again, you can apply that to coaching, but you can apply it to relationships as well.
That's true.
And then I love to bring energy and enthusiasm to everything when I work with people. And I think, you know this yourself. When you're with people that have a lot of energy and enthusiasm, you can't help feel excited.
That's true.
Okay. And then the other thing through being coached, but not only through being coached, but when you're building a relationship, you raise each other's awareness. You become more aware. You become more aware of other people's feelings. That emotional intelligence builds up. So awareness is key. And then finally, why do we do everything?
Yeah.
We want to get some sort of result out of it. So through coaching, it's my clients' results, my results, and in a relationship, it's building that relationship. So you want to celebrate these results. So that's what CLEAR is. C for connection, L for language, E for energy, A for awareness, R for results. That's the CLEAR framework.
Well, that's lovely. It's lovely.
Thank you.
And this is, it's just beautiful. I think this is life in itself. Ringing. So the acronym is so lovely, and thank you, Doc, for taking
Appreciate
your time to frame that. That makes coaching easy, and that is good. That takes us to something that I believe all coaches need, and everyone in relationship needs, and especially in today's world, people are no longer talking about just your aptitude, your intellectual capacity, and your ability to know. People now want to talk about, are you emotionally capable to handle certain risks? So whether we're talking about the family, the family relationship, the workplace relationship, or you're a leader in government, you've got to know this next thing is important, and that is why I think someone like you is extremely important in this time and age. And that talks about emotional intelligence and a growth mindset. It's part of your work. It seems to be part of what you do a lot. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, you come across many people that give up easily. They come across a challenge and they give up.
Okay.
And I think a lot of that comes down to, I'm going to generalise a little bit, but people have forgotten what hard work is sometimes. And it takes time to become a success. Struggle is required, no matter what.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be hard struggle, but some sort of struggle, some sort of stress. However, we live in this world where social media shows that results are instant, and we live in this expectancy that everything needs to be immediate. And then when people don't get that, they become despondent and give up. So my challenge and the work I like to do with people is make them understand that, failure isn't the opposite of success.
Okay.
It's the stepping stones to success. You've probably heard the old adage that fail is an acronym for first attempt in learning.
Yeah.
We need to fail to become successful, so it's reframing people's mindsets to understand that. We talk about emotional intelligence. I think a lot of the reason people don't develop it or struggle with it is because we're in our phones all the time. You go on the tube, trains, whatever, you're walking around, everybody's got their heads down.
Everyone is busy.
Everybody's busy. There are no communications going on as much. We don't talk to other people like we might have to understand how they're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So when I get people to grow their emotional intelligence, I say, look, pause a little bit. Have a bit of a mindful practice of registering and recognising your own feelings rather than masking them with social media or other forms of entertainment. Sometimes sit in that solitude and have a realisation how you're feeling, whether it's journaling through meditation, and listen to others, rather than wanting to say what you want to say, just listen to others sometimes and just pause and really take that in. So there are various ways that people can grow that emotional intelligence.
That's lovely, and it just reminds me of the LCC framework: listen, connect, and create. And we find it difficult to connect these days because we don't listen. We don't listen to people around us. We don't listen to our environment. The husband does not listen to his wife. The wife does not listen to the husband. The children are not listening to the fathers. The people are not listening to the government. The governments are not listening to the people. And so we end up creating policies that there's no connection with the people. So, and we talk about the LCC framework: listen, connect, and create, and that just aligns with what you're saying. Thank you, Doctor.
I was going to say, we live in a world where I say people listen to respond. That's they're listening just because they want to put their argument forward.
Not to understand. Not to understand. You're doing a great job. This is lovely. Thank you so much. And I believe our listeners are already learning a lot from you. I'm learning a lot, and I believe the global community, we are learning a lot from you. Thank you, Doctor, for what you do. And that makes us want to say, how did you move from science to coaching? You have a PhD. You have a background in toxicology and the rest of it, and your scientific training, did it influence your coaching? Because you now seems to do a lot of framework. Is it as a result of your science?
I think so. I mean, I'm quite a logical, analytical person, and therefore, for me, I'm a problem solver. So if there's a challenge, there's a solution.
Yeah.
So I think that comes into it a lot. However, there's all sorts of coaching. There are coaches that use a lot of spiritual elements. That's not my approach. Mine's very much methodical, analytical, science-based.
It's clear. I can see that. Yeah.
So I like to use a lot of psychological principles. If people are behaving or feel a certain way, I like for people to understand why that might be. And yet there are other coaches who may give a spiritual inference to why somebody may be feeling that way. And again, it's up to the people themselves. They'll align themselves with the right coach for them, I say. There's no right or wrong.
Okay, that's lovely. And I love your approach, seriously. I can't thank you enough. And I believe everyone is already sending. We wish we could have a place to send a thank you card. This is important as the year comes to an end, that people begin to rediscover themselves and find out. And especially when you talked about the emotional aspect and the growth mindset, that is important. We all need to grow. And so we talked about, you featured in Forbes. Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's lovely. Helping businesses to grow. Will you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, I was invited to join the Forbes Coaches Council, and it gave me an opportunity to be able to write articles, contribute to panel discussions, and network with other coaches as well. But again, it gave me an opportunity to give credibility to what I do as a coach as well. I think that's important sometimes. There's a lot of coaches out there in the world. Sometimes people ask me, how do you find a good coach?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying being part of Forbes is being a good coach, but it lends itself to some sort of credibility. I would always say that if anybody's looking for a coach, do your research, look at the person, see what coaching training they've had, check out their testimonials more importantly, look at the kind of people that they've helped and what kind of results they've helped achieve for their clients. I think it's really very important. But yes, it was an honour to be part of the Forbes Coaches Council.
Yeah, this is lovely. You at the end of this interview, I'll need you to send your detail out there, because I've listened to several coaches in my lifetime, and I love the way you articulate issues. You focus on the solutions, not just going around the situation, and I like that
Thank
about
you.
you. Thank you, coach, for that. And so you do one-on-one coaching and the rest, and also corporate coaching workshops and training.
So
Can you
what
talk
I've
to
done-
us about
yes, so mainly it's one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
In terms of the corporate work that I've done, it's being invited in to give talks,
Yeah.
maybe like a lunchtime talk to groups of employees, and that's been around how to build resilience, growth mindset, maybe mindfulness. So I've had opportunities to that, and that's been great. And also delivering the same talks to students as well, I've had the opportunity to do. But in the main, when I'm working as a coach, it tends to be one-on-one. Again, a personal preference. A lot of people have said to me, "Oh, why don't you do group coaching?" But I'm in a fortunate position that I can pick and choose the clients that I want to work with, and more
Okay.
importantly, how I want to work.
Wow, that's lovely. So for those of our listeners that would love you to come and probably coach a corporate team, and are you available for that?
Corporate team, it's something I'd have to evaluate. That's the
Okay,
that's
you've
the
got
thing
to
I'd say.
evaluate that
It's
to
something
say,
I'd evaluate.
okay.
What is it? What the requirement is, and what's needed more than anything.
Okay.
I always say never. It's always a
Okay.
case of explore
Okay.
opportunities. This is what I say to a lot of people: say yes to opportunities. However, what a lot of people don't do is learn to say no. The
Yeah.
reason is when you learn to say no, it opens up doors for other opportunities to present
Okay.
themselves.
Oh, that's
I think
good.
too many people go out and want to fill their lives with busyness.
Yeah.
And I used to do that myself. And then I would realise, why haven't I got time to do the things I really want to do? It's only when I started to learn to say no to opportunities strategically that it actually freed up time to be able to say yes to the right opportunities.
It's lovely. And this is lovely. My elder brother used to say to me then when I was a lot younger that one of the signs of maturity is the ability to say no.
Yeah.
And most people are afraid to say no.
Yeah.
And so I grew up learning that and from him, and like, you've just got to tell people no sometimes.
I must tell you, it was a challenge for me. I grew up as a people pleaser. I like to make people happy, and me saying no to people would give me these pangs of guilt.
Yeah.
Oh no, I don't want to be like that. But then, that was self-reflection, developing myself. Where's that coming from?
Okay.
And that was okay. And it's okay to say no to people, and it's never going to be as bad as you think.
Wow, thank you. And that takes me to my next question. As a coach yourself, sometimes you get down, and how do you get yourself out of that? How do you coach yourself?
Yeah.
But how do you get out of such feelings?
So first of all, I have my own coach as well.
Okay.
Which is good. However, the coach I see, we touch base every 3 months.
Okay.
Because there's nothing in particular that I'm focusing on in terms of coaching, but it's nice to be able to use my coach, and she's also a coaching supervisor, that I can talk to her about my coaching practice. However, talking about when you're down, I think what I've learnt to do is get out of those negative spirals very quickly.
Okay. And you do that?
And I'll tell you, a lot of people say to me, so here's the thing. Every time people meet, they always say to me, Rakish, you always have a smile on your face.
Yeah, that's true.
What is it? And I say to them, I don't want to use bad language, but I have plenty of stuff to deal with, more than most people sometimes, but it's how you look at things. I've really learnt to reframe my own mindset. Maybe even better than it used to be. I've always looked for the silver lining. Give an example. My children, they'll be bleeding, crying, come running to mummy and daddy. My wife would be panicking, oh no, what's wrong? I'm like, they're fine. They've just got up, they've come up running, they'll be fine. So, I'd look at the positive. Yes, there's blood, there's tears, that can be cleaned up. But the fact that they came up, they're still able to talk, they're running over to us, they're breathing, they're fine. It's things like that. I look at bad things happen all the time. If we focus on the bad, that's all we're ever going to see. I try and look for the positive. And then there'll be down days. There'll be days, say, I'll be doing my day job, IT work.
Okay.
I'll be tired, I've had a bad day, I'm stressed. And then I've got a coaching session in the evening with a client. And I'll be thinking, am I going to be able to deliver to this client? I'm not in the right frame of mind. But you know what, I'm not going to cancel. I start that coaching session, and within 30 seconds I've changed. I'm energised. Because actually I love coaching. When I'm able to help people, everything else just goes out the window.
Wow.
So that's what I focus on. So if there are any times where I think, am I doing the best I can be? I just look at messages I've received from past clients, text messages, testimonials. I create an environment around myself that's positive, and that's so important.
I want to ask you this. Okay, I'm going to ask you that last. Do you have a message for those feeling stuck in the UK? Because you have a global audience listening to you right now. I want you to just speak to them and see if it's just one client.
Okay.
And to those that are feeling stuck at the moment.
I think it's okay to feel stuck. We all feel stuck at some point in life. We may have been feeling stuck for a long time, but that doesn't mean you remain stuck. To get out of that feeling, that feeling of being stuck, is to do something different. And that could be anything. You may not be used to maybe going out for a walk. You may not be used to phoning a friend. You may not be used to reaching out to somebody. But do that one thing that you've not done in a long, long time. And just by doing something different, it opens a different door in your life or a different window. And you can step through it. And then all of a sudden, something will be different. It's like nothing stands still. It's all in our head. If we have that courage, the bravery, just to try something different, it doesn't need to be huge. We all have these big dreams, goals, aspirations. We're never going to get them straight away. We have to work towards them. So I always say, find the smallest actionable step you can take to do something different towards your goals. I think that's the most important thing.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. So great. I can feel the genuineness in your speech. And it shows you love to help people. And that is why I want to ask you, how can people reach you?
How can people reach me? They can reach me via my website. It's just www.theclearcoach.com. I'm on all social media handles as The Clear Coach. They would Google my name. I'm fortunate my spelling mistake. I have a spelling mistake in my name. Rakish with an I. So Rakish Ron, if you Google me, I'll be the only one in the world.
Okay, that's lovely.
That helps.
Yeah, so I want to encourage every single one of you out there, please. You can also subscribe to the Fancy TV YouTube channel, and you're going to watch this video live there, and all this information will be there in case you forgot to get. So please subscribe to the Fancy TV YouTube channel to get the full edition of this video and to be able to reach out with Dr. Rakish, and that is awesome. So what is the future for you?
Well, the one thing I want to do, before I answer that, is a shameless plug for my own YouTube channel. So the one thing I wanted to do and give back was, I can't reach everybody, but what can I do? I create short videos every week, anything between 5 to 8 minutes on self-development, self-mastery. So that's a channel I've been growing for the past year and a half, nearly 2 years now. And that's out there. People can go in, pick different topics very quick. I always give 3 to 5 different things as a takeaway for people to be able to do something. So that's useful.
Okay, thank you.
But what does the future hold for me? It's just, again, it's trying to make an impact in this world, trying to be strategic in how I do it, and helping people as I go along the way.
Okay, thank you so much. I want to say thank you, Doctor, for this time. It's been a time of learning, unlearning and relearning, and I'll tell you, we're extremely grateful to have you come to us. We look forward to a second interview in the year 2025.
Fantastic.
Because I think we should put one in 2025 to help people kickstart the year properly, and know you're going to be the best person to do this.
Well, I've got to add, when you say kickstart the year, kickstart it now.
Prepare
now, so that when that 1st of Jan hits, you're ready to go, not wasting time.
Lovely. Thank you, sir. So once again, thank you, and thank you, London, for tuning in to Let's Get It Real with Obel. And we look forward to having you. Stay tuned as we have more interviews lined up for you this day. Bye for now.